Some viewers may find the following video disturbing. Viewer discretion is advised.
Hey everyone, welcome back to Board Games Unlocked, and today I'm doing a discussion over Angel, which is one of the newest released Marvel champions, and I feel like it's been quite some time since I've had to do a review over just an individual hero, because they've just been releasing the booster boxes, or not the booster boxes, but like the campaign boxes, and quite sporadically still. And I should also quit saying the newest, because it becomes extremely dated very early on. Anyway, be that as it may, we're going to be talking about Angel, or otherwise known as Warren Worthington III. And as you can clearly see, this is a little flippy, because it's not just Warren Worthington III or Angel, it's also, boom, Archangel. This is the third, I think it's the third character that actually has a trifold. So let's get this out of the way. This is horrible design. I absolutely hate it. It makes sleeving this game a pain in the ass, because you have to basically keep that one in and out. And it's just, I just hate the fact that it doesn't lie flat. So a couple options I've considered is by just cutting it down and sleeving both of these, like both of these individual cards, and whenever you want to go into Archangel, you just put them together. That's probably what I will most likely do, but yeah, this is just horrendous. And overall, Angel is insanely powerful. Like, very, very cool. Like, lots of I mean, I feel like it's this way with all the trifold characters, but lots of like ways to adjust to a lot of different situations, and tons of ways to do kind of like cheaper or free cards because of like the flight element. So let's go ahead and talk about him a little bit. So Warren Worthington has 3 recovery. His ability is, as an action, you can heal 1 damage from Warren Worthington III. You can only do that once per round. So just kind of a natural healing thing. Then you flip over to Angel, and it goes into 2 thwart, 1 attack, 2 defense, and then Angel of Life as a response after you play an aerial event, draw 1 card. This is like the first character that I've seen utilize the aerial keyword more than any other. I know you can build certain characters to use it, but like straight out of the gate, talking about just the prepackaged box deck, yeah, a lot of stuff dealing with aerial traits, which is really cool. So that's really nice, just playing an aerial event and drawing a card. Then you go into Archangel, which has 0 thwart, 2 attack, and 3 defense. So pretty good defense. Also starts with 12 hit points and wavers between 5 and 6 hand size. But Angel of Death, which says, response after you play an aerial event, you deal damage to an enemy equal to the event's printed cost. Limit once per phase, but that is pretty balanced. And notice that it says limit once per phase and not once per round or anything like that, so that's really cool. However, it does come with the cost of increasing the threat. So there's actually a downside to be in Archangel mode if you have something that ramps threat a lot, like side schemes or just the inherent main scheme. You could lose very quickly if you stay in Archangel mode. But that is his abilities straight out of the gate. But let's go ahead and take a look at some of his really powerful cards, such as, boop, yes, okay, Razor Dive. That is his strongest attack that is in his deck. It's a hero action, so you deal 6 damage to an enemy, and if you are an Archangel, this attack gains Overkill in Piercing, which is insane, just because, I mean, just the natural way of being able to change forms, which he has ways to do it more than once. Yeah, I mean, it's a 3 cost, but he has ways around that too. Like, for example, he has the Power of Flight, which doubles the number of resources this card gains when paying for an aerial card. Oh, look at that. Razor Dive is an aerial card. There is, oh, where is it? Power of Flight was there, because he also doesn't have any of the like Strength, Genius, or anything like that. He has an upgrade, not many upgrades, not many allies either, so you have to be kind of careful with that, but he has Techno Organic Wings, which that's one of his upgrades as an action. You can exhaust it to, if you're Angel, just ready your hero. Also tons of ways to ready himself. And then if you're Archangel, you can reduce the cost of the next aerial event you can play by 2. So that basically makes a Razor Dive a 1 cost. And, I mean, that's insanely powerful, which is really cool. Then you have ways, just one of the allies, which is Psylocke, because they came in a pair, Angel and Psylocke, but, like, I'm going to pop this back into Angel mode. So then Psylocke is an ally, so after Psylocke attacks, if you're Angel, you can ready your hero. Sorry, if you're Angel, you can heal a damage from Psylocke, and if you're Archangel, you can ready your hero, which is, again, tons of ways to kind of ready themselves. Then, you have cards like, where was it? Oh, here it is, Avian Anatomy. And this is pretty badass. After you spend this card to play for an aerial event, which is a lot, you get to return that event back to your hand. So, I mean, naturally, if you're in Archangel mode, you can, exhaust yourself to attack for 2, but then use your Techno Wings to make Razor Dive a cost 1, dealing 6 damage, and paying the 1 with an Avian Anatomy, and basically getting a Razor Dive back into your hand, and then using another Avian Anatomy, or if you have another Power of Flight, just to use the Power of Flight and Avian Anatomy to cast Razor Dive again, and then bring it back into your hand, because he has more than one Avian Anatomies in his deck. Let's see. He also has, like, well, let's keep on to the negatives. So I mentioned how he has multiple ways to change forms, so naturally you can just do it once per phase, but then you can play Metamorphosis. Again, just go back to Angel. Metamorphosis, which allows you to change form and then get a boost depending on who you change into. So you can change into Warren Worthington and just draw a card. You can change into Angel and remove 2 threat from a scheme, or Archangel and deal 3 damage to an enemy. What's really cool about him is the fact of just that changing ability, and especially his just natural abilities that are kind of responses. Like if you change into Archangel and do Metamorphosis, you deal 3 damage, but then because you spent an event that had Aerial in it, it does 2 damage to another. So that card alone just does 5 damage on top of his regular attack, which could be 2 damage. So it ramps up very, very quickly. Let's see. He has a few Razor Dives in here. He also has some defenses. So Aerial Agility is an interrupt, which not a lot of characters use interrupts a ton. But when an enemy attacks, if you're Angel, you get to ignore each boost icon and each boost ability, which could be really nice if you're facing off against some nasty villains that have high boost attack, like Hela, for example, could have Laufey, that's just a 4 boost, which it's like, okay, she has +3 attack, and she got that 4 boost. That is 7 damage right off the bat. Angel Agility can allow you to just be like, okay, no, it's only 3 damage, I'm ignoring all 4. But if you're Archangel, then you give your hero a tough status card and retaliate 1. So it's also really cool because it's not always apparent that you want to be in Archangel mode. And you don't want to stay in Archangel mode because, one, you're getting attacked all the time. You have no way to help with threat through his innate abilities alone. And you're also ramping up the threat counter just because of that icon that he has. Although I will say, whenever I've been playing him, I haven't found a huge reason to ever go back into alter ego mode. Like, I kind of have been able to change between Angel and Archangel because their natural defense isn't horrible, and their abilities aren't like exhaust abilities. And then also, you do have, things like Aerial Agility. You have things like, if you're in Archangel mode, I mentioned you don't really have any ways to deal with threat. Well, you actually kind of do because, like natural flight, which costs 2, you can just remove 4 threat from a scheme. But if you are Angel, this is really neat. You get to ignore the crisis icon and the patrol icon, or the patrol keyword, which is very awesome because most of the time that stuff, if you really need to lower a threat on the main scheme and those two things are out, it's like, okay, got to deal with this. Oh, well, no, natural flight. I can just fly over there and deal with it. I'll just go into my angel mode. So that's really cool. Adaptive plumage is another one. So that's a hero action. If you are angel, you remove 3 threat from a scheme and you confuse an enemy. And if you're an archangel, you can deal 4 damage to an enemy and then stun it. So tons of ways to do damage, but as you're kind of noticing, a lot of the cards are 3. And that's not necessarily cheap. If you're hand limited, if you're keeping it always at 5, that's pretty much the one thing you're doing, is you're dumping your whole hand to play 1 card. And very few ways to lower those. Not that they're not there, I've shown some cards, but it's like you have to have a really good hand to potentially do 2 things if you're trying to do those high value cards. Because again, he has nothing in here that's double resources. He has things that count as double resources, but I mean, there's also things like Taunt. This is just a protection card, but the villain attacks you, other characters can't defend, so it's going to be coming right at you. You run the risk to taunt them, but then you get to draw 3 cards. I mean, drawing 3 is not nothing, so that's there. I didn't really find the protection super great because the allies in here are very expensive. Ever Vigilant worked really well, though. Like, you can play only if you have the aerial trait, and you can ready your hero and remove 2 threat from the main scheme. That's just kind of a really good win-win, readying your hero up again. But like I said, yeah, there wasn't really a whole lot that ever warranted me to go back into alter ego mode unless I just didn't want to be attacked. You know, obviously that's always the case. But like in terms of card abilities, I'm like, I don't really need them. Some other protection cards that are nice is a free aerial intervention. You can just exhaust a character with the aerial keyword and prevent 3 damage. That's just nice. It's free to play. Then they also introduced something new, and there's not many in this deck. I mean, pretty sure it's just this one. But with Psylocke and Angel, they introduced something called player side schemes. And they work exactly like regular side schemes, except obviously they're for the player. So if in Render Medical Aid, if you're playing solo, you would just put 3 threat on it, and you would remove it just like you would any other thwart. But this is like when defeated, each player heals a total of 5 damage from amongst characters that they control. I think introducing player side schemes is a really cool, albeit somewhat late, to Marvel Champions, because that feels almost like a duh, you know, having your own side schemes. If the villains can have it, why can't we? And it makes you decide, if you're removing threat, should we remove it from our own, or should we try and obviously deal with what the villain's putting out? I think it's neat. Like I said, there's not any more in his natural deck, so he just has that one. But I mean, healing 5 is not nothing. Prevents you from having to go into alter ego mode unless you just want them to scheme because you've kept that in check. But that's pretty much a lot of his focus. In terms of a lot of his cards. So, as always, what I try to do is, off the top of my head, I try to see how much damage I can do with a literally perfect scenario. So let's take a good old gander at these cards. So we're gonna say that Psylocke is out, and his Techno wings are out. He has a hand limit of 7, because let's say you play the Taunt, threw away a card, absorbed the attack, and drew 3. So if he had a hand of 6, spent the Taunt and the 1 card to make it free, he would go down to 4 and then draw 3. So he would have 7 cards in his hand. So let's do Power Flight, Razor Dive. Obviously no defense. Maybe a Metamorphosis. Let's see how many Power Flights he has. Power of Flight. I'm not removing threat because we're only here for damage. I mean, I could just always say, oh, he has all of these allies out, but I'm just keeping the ones that help him specifically. Maybe Adaptive Plumage could be pretty cool, or a second Razor Dive. Let's see, so it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Yeah. We will try that to the best of my ability. Okay, so we will do... Yeah, we'll try these. So the first thing that we're going to do is we're going to exhaust Techno Organic Wings and reduce the cost of the next aerial event you play from your hand this phase by 2. So then we will do... Actually, I don't even need another Razor Dive in here because I have Avian Anatomy, which would pull that card back to his hand. So is there anything else? Did I put a Metamorphosis in here? I did not. Yeah, let's try Metamorphosis. Again, I'm sure there are always better perfect hands and perfect damage things for these cards, but I try and do it off the top of my head. Oh, I did do an Avian Anatomy. No, it was Metamorphosis. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay. So yeah, so we're going to do that. So we're going to make Razor Dive. So we're going to play Razor Dive, paying for it with Avian Anatomy. So that means after I spend this card for an aerial event, I return this to my hand. So we're dealing 6 damage. Doesn't matter if we're... Ooh, actually, so we should do Metamorphosis first. Yes. Yeah, so Metamorphosis is going to be the best one to start with. So we'll play the Power of Flight and Metamorphosis to change into Archangel. Boom. And it's not going to stay. So we did that. And I'm going to deal 3 damage to an enemy. So we're at 3 damage with Metamorphosis and the Power of Flight. Then we will exhaust Techno Organic Wings and Avian Anatomy to then play Razor Dive. So, also after I play, well, we'll do the Razor Dive, so that will be 6 damage, so that's 9 damage with the aerial event, adding 3, so that's 12 damage. And then we will attack with Archangel, so that'd be 14 damage, and then Psylocke will attack for 15 damage. Then that will ready Archangel, which will attack again for 17 damage. And then we will do the Power of Flight, the Power Within, and Avian Anatomy because that doubles, and then that's 3rd, to play Adaptive Plumage. I am in Archangel, so I will add 4 damage to that. So that will be... I already forgot. So that was 6, 7, 8, 9... 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 21 damage on top of a stun. Yeah, that sounds pretty good. That's not horrendous. And I'm sure there's probably ways to get a 3rd or a 2nd Razor Dive out. And then I don't ever really count like, oh, if I had Warpath in here, and if I had, what was his name, Cannonball. Yeah, if I had Cannonball, that would add to the damage. It's like, what can I do with specifically almost always his cards, which these are all his cards. So, yeah, and I don't think there's any way to like ready him a 2nd time. But yeah, 21 damage is not nothing. I've been having a blast with Angel. I think he's probably one of the best X-Men not coming out of the box, because I haven't played those boxes yet. I've just been playing these. So yeah, on a scale of 1 to 10, what am I going to give Angel? I really, really like him. I love the flight system. I love a lot of the aerial combos. I love the free, like, reducing cost. If you're into having a lot of upgrades or a lot of allies, you're not going to get that from him. He is very much solo. kind of in his stuff. And I mean, I'm sure you can make him into whatever you want with the deck building, but yeah, coming right out of the box, I think I'm gonna give Angel a 9. I think he's pretty excellent, very versatile, which is kind of what I like, and yeah, he's just really cool. So that is my thoughts on Angel. Let me know what you think of him in the comments below. Other than that, like, comment, share, and subscribe, and have a wonderful whatever time of day it is for you.
Hey everyone, thank you for watching, and I really hope that you enjoyed the video. If you would like to see more of my content, go ahead and click that subscribe button and the bell to be notified whenever I upload any new content. If you feel like supporting the channel, you can go ahead and click that Patreon link to be taken to my Patreon, and any help is truly appreciated. Other than that, stick around for any other run-throughs or reviews or cool top 10s or whatever I feel like putting on. Other than that, like, comment, share, and subscribe, and have a wonderful whatever time of day it is for you.